The issue of rural to urban migration has been an issue of concerning, and it has been linked to this conference. It has been linked to climate change, desertification, and land degradation. And in your opinion, why is this issue being linked to the climate change, desertification, and land degradation?
Well, you see, the issue isn't that the earth can't handle so many people, right? The issue is that the density of people in particular areas is too high. I mean, the earth can handle many more people, in fact. There's enough resources. It's just that people are greedy. Now, when you look at the rural to urban migration, you're effectively seeing more number of people crammed into smaller spaces. So it is training the particular habitat of that particular region. Take the example of Delhi, right? You have people from, as you said, you have people from Bihar, from UP, from other underdeveloped parts of India coming into Delhi, coming into Mumbai. Now, Delhi is quite a fertile place, in fact. It has a lot of groundwater. It used to have a lot of groundwater. But when you're going to feed 10 crore people, when you're going to cure the thirst, you have to build houses for them, it's going to strain the environment. Mm-hmm. And now, people have this assumption that, there are a lot of people there, the land is going bad. But the fact is, a very minuscule percentage of this land is actually degraded to houses. It is being degraded due to buildings and all kind of roads and concretization. It's a very small percentage of land. Perhaps Utsav would elaborate on that. But the majority of land that's being degraded is due to the timber industry. Mm-hmm. Is being destroyed due to the chemicals that we're going to throw, the landfills. That's what's actually destroying the earth. So it's the byproduct of our cities is actually degrading the land. It's not the cities themselves. Mm-hmm. It is the waste we produce. And when you're talking about desertification, I think people have this wrong idea that, I'll plant a tree and I'll stop desertification. That's not how it works. Mm-hmm. You need to grow native species. You have to use indigenous methods. Mm-hmm. It has to be, after all, a mosaic of indigenous methods to stop. In fact, in Burkina Faso, they use a Zia system. The Zai system, I'm sorry. It's basically nothing more than a trench in which the water goes in and percolates into the ground. Mm-hmm. And what are we doing instead? We are growing pine trees in the desert. It makes no sense at all. Mm-hmm. So, yes, you have rural to urban migration and it's training the environment, but what we are doing wrong is applying the wrong practices to cure the wrong problem.
Okay, that sounds so profound. Do you have anything to add in regards to this?
I'll add a bit about the stats of India and the world. 25% of the total land in this world is degraded. If you talk about India, 30% of the total land is completely degraded. It is of no use. 1.36 billion people are suffering because of water scarcity. 3 species in an hour goes vanished and nobody would take care and nobody would even talk about it. Mm-hmm. If you talk about India aspects, 0.69% of desertifications happens because of our infrastructure and our mode of thinking, our lifestyle. So we need to focus more about how we see. Here also we are talking about policies, we are talking about laws, we are talking about statutory authorities, but people need to initiate things by themselves. So we are talking about something which is very important in this world, but we need to change ourselves so that people, after seeing us, would change themselves.
Oh, okay. Well, you mentioned about the issues of policies and legislative measures to ensure that we depopularize the urban areas. What are the processes of ensuring that you come up with good policies? Do you engage the civil societies? Do you engage the public themselves? Or these decisions are only made in the top hierarchy? How does it go?
So, there are various policies, laws, but if you talk about implementation of policy, it is a very serious issue because, there are thousands of policies which are working on environment, but people are not aware about their basic human rights. To have water, to have clean water, to have food, to have shelter. But they are not even aware about that it's the duty of a state to provide them employment. It's the duty of a state to provide them clean water. So, until and unless you don't ask for it, you'll never get it. So basic advocacy of the policies needs to be done at the ground level. We are sitting in the AC rooms, we are framing policies, but the main things works when the people like us, when we go with the policies at the ground level. We need to describe about that We need to tell them what do they have, their basic rights. What can they ask for? This is all about.
Oh, okay. Well, this sounds really interesting. Are there civil societies on the ground helping in terms of policy making for such initiatives?
Well, I wouldn't deny they're not helping. Surely, they're a very important component of what we're doing here about de-urbanizing these congested cities. Is really important, and they're doing a great job, I must say. But at the end of the day, the effort must come from the government side. And apart from being just from the government, we need to hold the corporates accountable for this. In Palchimada in India, the Pepsi set up, Coca-Cola set up a factory there. They took all the groundwater, and the most fertile land in India just died. It got dried up. So you can have civil society go to the courts and say, knock the doors and say, look, we need to have something going on here. But at the end of the day, that's the law, right? You can't stop Coca-Cola or Pepsi from coming in here. You can't stop them. In fact, look at our laws. The Easement Act of 1882 in India effectively privatizes water. I mean, if I own this land, I own all the water that's under it.
Okay.
The same water that farmers use for the drinking, for sanitation, for the farms, you're just taking it away. So what civil society can do is pressure the government. We need to apply pressure on those who are responsible to make these laws. We need to apply pressure on the corporates who make billions out of this groundwater. That is what civil society can do, and they must focus on that. Simply going, planting trees, perhaps digging a ditch somewhere to help the groundwater increase is a band-aid on a jugular vein. You're going to cut it and it's going to bleed and bleed.
Okay.